What's up, collectors? Welcome back to Films by Color. I've got another batch of brand new physical media releases to cover for you today. These are all boutique releases, 5 films to cover, and one of them is a nice big box set, which includes a documentary feature as well. We're going to cover all of that. But before I do, I got to remind you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button down below if you want YouTube to show you more of my videos covering these new releases. And I got to give a shout out to the brand new members of the channel. I'm going to run their names right here on the screen. And I got to give a special shout out to Tyler Ray Hawkins and Citizen Kane 359, who are at the Cult Classics tier. So thank you guys so much for the extra support, and I hope you're enjoying the exclusive content over there so far. If you're interested in becoming a member yourself, you can click the join button right below this video on desktop. But let's go ahead and jump right into these new releases. These were sent over by Imprint Films all the way from Australia. I've been working with Imprint for a little bit now and have been really enjoying going through their catalog. But I gotta be honest, this month, I was not expecting too much from this batch. Normally when I get a package from them, I'm really looking forward to one of the releases, or I'm at least familiar with a few of the releases. I was not familiar with any of the releases in this set. These were all brand new films to me. But I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised, especially by this box set. This is such a unique, really interesting box set. So this is blue and fade in. These are films from the 60s, or at least they were made in the 60s. We'll talk about kind of what happened to one of them and why it wasn't released till way later. These are directed, or Blue at least, is directed by Silvio Narizzano, who is, despite his very Italian-sounding name, a Canadian director. A forgotten Canadian director that not a lot of people talk about. But Blue is his Western film. He didn't really have a niche. He didn't really have a style of film or a genre that he stayed in. He made all different kinds of films. Comedy films, drama films, horror films. This is his Western film. He was all over the place. But this is his Western film from 1968. Stars Terence Stamp in the lead, which worked out perfectly. I was actually in the mood to check out some Terence Stamp performances because of his unfortunate passing very recently, and he brings so much to this Western. I think he actually makes this film. He was cast at the last minute. Robert Redford was actually in the lead right up until a few weeks before shooting and dropped out at the last minute. Terence Stamp fills in, but I think he's actually a much better fit for what this Western is trying to do. This is a very alternative Western. This is not a typical spaghetti Western. It's not like the hyper machismo kind of action Western. This is a very conflicted character. Terence Stamp always brings a little bit of gender ambiguity to his characters, and a lot of people consider this to be a queer-coded Western film. Terence Stamp plays a white man who was kidnapped as a child by some Mexican bandits who burned down his village. He's raised by the bandits to be one of them. Later on, he finds his way back to a little village of settlers and finds himself shot and injured, and he's nursed back to health by a female love interest and her father, who happens to be a doctor. And then he kind of is torn between both sides for the rest of the movie. He's kind of struggling with who he is. He doesn't feel like he fits in anywhere, and that's kind of where Terence Stamp adds to the film. He's got this kind of alien quality to him. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. His accent is still there, very British. He's kind of flipping back and forth between a British and Southern accent. Some people think it works because he's supposed to be kind of this alien character that doesn't fit in anywhere. I don't think it totally works, but I do think his presence works, and he doesn't speak that often. He's a very monosyllabic character. He doesn't speak much. He's all internal. He's always conflicted. There's a romance that forms with the woman he's staying with, but he can never really commit to that. He can't commit to the bandits. He can't commit to his new life with the settlers. So it's a really interesting film, and it's shot beautifully. It's super colorful, my kind of like heightened aesthetic. There's lots of interesting things done with lighting. It doesn't look realistic, so if you like your Westerns to be real gritty and realistic, this one might not be for you. But if you like really stylized films, artsy films, I guess some people might call this, if you like very conflicted, tragic, outcast kind of characters, I think Silvio brings a bunch of style to this film. I don't think there was anything like it before this or since, because this did not do very well. This was actually panned by critics at the time. This came out right in the 60s in the height of like the spaghetti Western craze. I think people knew what they wanted from a Western at the time, and this was not it. This did not do very well. I think this did end up losing a lot of money, but I think looking back on it now, it's a really interesting film. And this box set is really interesting too, and I'll show you why. There's another film in here called Fade In, which, again, nothing like this has ever been done before or since, I don't think. So this is like a piggyback film. They shot these at the exact same time in 1967. This is a movie about making a movie, and it stars Burt Reynolds and Barbara Loden. This is a romance film. Burt Reynolds is working on set of a film that's shooting in his little small town in Utah, and he's working as a driver on set, and he's driving around the assistant editor on the crew, who's played by Barbara Loden, and the film they're making is Blue. They're making this film. So these were shot simultaneously in the same locations. There's a lot of on-set footage and behind-the-scenes footage from Blue that makes its way into this film. And there's even a cameo by Terence Stamp in the very beginning in his sports car driving up to get gas before he gets on set. And there's a really nice tongue-in-cheek line at the beginning of this movie where the guy who's pumping his gas is like, "Is John Wayne gonna be in this picture?" And Terence Stamp's like, no, not this one. So they know that this is a very non-traditional Western film. Fade In, I found to be fascinating. I would love to see this done again, a little bit better, because I was not fully satisfied with this film, and I'll talk about why, but it's such a cool concept. Shooting a behind the scenes, it feels like a documentary kind of. It feels like one of those making of features that you would see. You see the director and the crew make all kinds of appearances here. But you've got this nice little romance that's forming between these two characters. Burt Reynolds plays this kind of rancher. They're shooting like on his property, and he has no interest in film at all. He's just like, whatever, what is this? I'm just trying to make some money. And Barbara Loden kind of gets him into it a little bit. And I wish it had focused on that a little bit more. It kind of turns into a more standard, kind of basic romance between them. Obviously, she's from LA. She's traveling all the way down to Moab, Utah. This isn't really going to work out in the end. It's just kind of this fling that they have, and it plays out pretty standard. But the stuff I really liked about this is the first time Burt Reynolds shows up to set, and it's showing the making of this movie in such a romanticized way. He's looking around, he's seeing the director, he's seeing all the crew doing all these things, and you see like he's really interested. And there's just kind of this light in his eyes, and I would have loved for that to play more of a role. It doesn't really come back. He never really gets super interested in it. She shows him how to like cut clips together in the editing room, and he's kind of like, yeah, that's cool. He doesn't really fall in love with it though, and I feel like in the day and age we are now, like we make so many movies about the love of movie making, so we're probably past time for this now. But in 1968, if this had gone all the way with it, I think it could have been amazing. This actually was not like, I don't want to say well received, because it wasn't even released. Like the studio wasn't happy with it. It never got a release until 1973, way later, straight to TV, released late at night. So they didn't have any faith in this, but I liked a lot of things about it. There's that, like I said, that great scene where he's having his first day on set. There's another scene where they have kind of a date on set, and they're dressed in like Western clothes, and they're doing like a shootout together, and it's super romantic, and it cuts the footage with, it speeds it up and puts it in black and white and kind of gives it a silent film feel. That's what I needed more of in this. That was great. They had okay chemistry together, not the best, but I thought there was charming bits to it. So I had a good time with it, mostly because of the framing device. I thought was so cool to film at the exact same time on the same sets as this film, which I actually really did enjoy. And it's just such a cool package. This box set, putting these films together, and even more, and I'll get into it here in just a second. There's tons of special features on here. I'll talk about that first, actually. So the special features, audio commentary on both films with two guys, two film historians, very good commentaries. I enjoyed both of those. Blue also has some interviews with cast and crew, and I think the composer. And then this one also has an interview with one of the producers of the film. So pretty good commentaries, pretty good special features on both of those. And then there's a whole third disc in here. This is a feature-length documentary called Cruel, Usual, Necessary, The Passion of Silvio Narizzano. This is a feature-length documentary, and it's a really long one. It's like 2 hours and 12 minutes, put together by Daniel Kramer, who is a filmmaker, documentarian, film historian. And I learned so much from this documentary. This is where I learned everything about this director. I never heard of this director before this. Like I said, he's a Canadian director. He started with Georgie Girl, I think, was his big breakout feature, which he did, I think it's a British film. And then he came back and worked for Hammer and did a film called Fanatic, which is a horror film. And he just kind of worked his way up and did all kinds of different kinds of films. I'm very interested to dive into some of his other features after this. He had some bigger films later on that some of you guys might be familiar with, some shocking films. He did Loot, he did Redneck, and he did The Sky is Falling, which I think has a crazy performance by Dennis Hopper, hopped up on a bunch of drugs. So I was very interested by these audio commentaries, by Blue, and by this documentary to get into more of this director's films. So I thought that was absolutely worth a watch. I'm glad they included that in this set. It is basically shot like a video essay. You've got Daniel Kramer, I believe, doing the narration as he goes through his entire filmography, starting all the way at this first film, television work, everything. It talks about every single one in detail. It cuts back and forth between interview footage that he's done with some really knowledgeable guests. He actually includes the extended interviews on the disc. He has a really heartfelt introduction that he gives. This is very much a passion project for him. Really cool that he was able to make this, and so special that he was able to get it put into this Imprint box set and really round out this whole collection. Really cool of Imprint to put that out. Very unique kind of box set. A little snapshot in film history that has never really happened again. And I don't know if it ever will, but very interesting story behind that one. Then I've got 3 limited editions to talk about, standard editions from Imprint, but these are also limited to, I think, 1,500 copies on the website. I should say this is only $52 right now on Imprint's website, so maybe check that one out if that sounds interesting to you. The first one we have is You Only Live Once, directed by Fritz Lang. I've already watched this one with my wife Grace. We really, really enjoyed this one. This is black and white crime thriller, tragic romance from 1937, starring Henry Fonda in the lead. I'm of course familiar with Henry Fonda from 12 Angry Men, much later in the 50s, but this is a very early performance by Henry Fonda. He was obviously working a lot before that as well. I loved him in this. I loved everything about this. I love Fritz Lang. I need to see more of his films. This is one of his 30s films. He's already deep in the crime genre, very noir feeling film. Like I said, it is a crime thriller. It's about an ex-con who gets out of prison. He tries to go straight. He's got a wife he's trying to settle down with, but society resists and he can't find a job anywhere. He's struggling. And then he actually gets framed, not framed, but wrongly accused because of his past of a bank robbery. He gets thrown back in jail and the story goes on. And I don't want to tell you anything else. And I highly, highly recommend you don't read the little synopsis on the back of this because it has a huge spoiler. I got to call that out because I wish I had not read that. It gives a huge spoiler of like the end of the movie. So don't read that. Don't read that, go into it blind, and you'll really, really enjoy this film. It's kind of a precursor to the whole Bonnie and Clyde storyline, Thelma and Louise, that whole thing. Great. Really, really great story with this one. Very tragic, another downer, another depressing film right after Blue, but I really enjoyed this. I'm learning that Fritz Lang may be my favorite black and white director. Maybe not like my favorite black and white films. Obviously, I like a lot of black and white films, but he directs black and white so beautifully. Like there's so much done with shadows and lighting and smoke. There's like this lingering fog throughout the entire film that he's able to achieve with, I'm assuming, like smoke machines. So much atmosphere in this film, very tense. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Grace also liked it. This is very much her kind of thing. She loves noir and this kind of black and white crime thriller. It also stars Sylvia Sidney, who does great. She's also great as his wife. Here we go. This is just a Blu-ray release right there. single disc, but it does include an audio interview with Fritz Lang that was recorded at the National Film Theater in 1962. We've got an interview with author George M. Wilson and production takes from a film in the making. So a few little behind-the-scenes featurettes. I wasn't able to watch those yet, but we did watch the film. Great film. Fritz Lang doesn't miss. I really enjoyed owning that one on physical. $23 will get you that on the Imprint website. And then we've got two more films to talk about here. We've got Track of the Cat, another Western film starring Robert Mitchum, a love story of real, raw, runaway emotions right there on the back. There's a quote here on Imprint's website, a beautifully and splendidly haunting Eugene O'Neill style drama. It's a really rich and strange movie, all deep, brooding emotion, mysterious atmosphere, and astounding show of visual flair, which sounds exactly like Blue. I could describe that Western in the exact same way. This is just a little bit earlier. This is in the 50s, and we've got some pretty good special features on the back of this as well. I've not seen this one yet, but I am interested in watching it. It seems like it goes well with the rest of the batch here. The special features are an audio commentary by the director's son, William A. Wellman Jr. I didn't even mention this is directed by William Wellman, and it also has actor Tab Hunter and author Frank Thompson. So a stacked audio commentary there. We've also got a 4-part documentary on the making of Track of the Cat. And then there is a full documentary from 1991 on Robert Mitchum, The Reluctant Star. So a pretty stacked release for just a little standard limited edition release. Like I said, this is limited to 1,500 copies. Another Western film available from Imprint for that standard $23 price right now. So hopefully I enjoyed that one as well. It seems like it's going to be very stylized and atmospheric, just like the first two films I've already talked about. And it also does take place in winter. It's a snowy film. You can see the flakes right there on his shoulders. Ranch's cattle falling prey to the elusive killer cat. Kurt Bridges and his snowbound ranching family are forced to confront the beast to save the family's herd. This is also a worldwide first on Blu-ray, so this is the first time that this has been available on Blu-ray. And then we've got another worldwide first on Blu-ray. This is from 1953, starring Kirk Douglas. It is The Juggler. This is about a once famous juggler who survived the Holocaust, but lost his entire family in the Nazi death camps. He then moves to Israel following World War II and falls in love with a young farm worker who's committed to helping get the new Jewish state on its feet. This is notable because it is the first U.S. picture to be filmed in Israel. It's a fascinating journey through modern Israel, in addition to an intriguing and often touching study of a man. So another broken man. It seems like they had a theme this month, just these broken men, very conflicted, kind of torn between two lives. It sounds interesting to me. I don't know when I'll get time to watch this one, but this is one that I was actually really interested in based on the title alone, because it sounded like more of a lighthearted thing. It sounded like maybe it was related to kind of a circus film or something like that. It's not. It's not at all. It's a very different thing. He just happened to be a juggler before he went into World War II. But there's the disc art right there, and there's also some artwork on the back there. Little romance shot. This looks like, well, I guess there's been a lot of romances so far that we've talked about. So I guess I can't call this the most romantic of the batch, but there they are, right there on the back. The original poster right there on the front also looks very nice. And this one does not have any special features on it, but it is a worldwide first on Blu-ray that you can get, again, for that standard price. Spine number 436. We've covered a bunch of spine numbers on this. We got 436, 435, 434, and then all three of these get their own spine number as well, even the documentary film in that box set. I'm very, very happy with the two that I've watched so far. And who knows? This could end up being 4 for 4 if I really like these ones as well. Hopefully you enjoyed me talking about those films. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Imprint, for sending over those films for me to talk about on the channel. Really appreciate that. You can always help out the channel by hitting the like and subscribe button or the new join button if you would like to get some ad-free exclusive content. Thank you guys so much for everything, and I'll see you in the next video. More physical media content coming soon, but until then, keep collecting.